Water flows downhill. It always has. Yet, over 2,000 years ago, someone built a machine that makes water climb, a rotating screw inside a tilted cylinder, nothing more. No valves, no seals, no engine. That same device still operates today in wastewater plants, drainage systems, and hydro turbines across the world. The question is how something this simple ever worked at all. Water always finds its way down, pulled by gravity. Yet here sits a machine that seems to break that rule. A simple device, a spiral-shaped blade, or helix, turning inside a slanted tube. No pistons, no valves, no pressure tanks, just a slow, steady rotation. As it turns, water gathers in the spaces between the spiral and the cylinder wall. Each turn lifts these pockets upward, step by step, until the water pours out at the top. This is not a trick or a mystery. The principle is straightforward. Capture water, carry it up, let it flow out. The real puzzle is not whether it works, but how such a basic idea can keep solving the same problem for over 2,000 years. This machine's survival is not about lost secrets or forgotten science. It's about practical physics, clever design, and a challenge that still matters: how to move water where gravity says it shouldn't go. Raising water was never just a theoretical challenge. It was a daily reality for ancient farmers, builders, and miners. Flooded fields needed irrigation long after the river's natural rise had passed. Crops grew on higher ground, but the water table stayed low and out of reach. In other places, low marshy land turned into stagnant pools that threatened homes and harvests unless someone could move water up and away. The problem grew even more urgent underground. As miners followed veins of ore deeper, groundwater seeped in and pooled, halting work unless it could be lifted to the surface. Manual labor with buckets and levers only went so far. Ancient texts, from Diodorus Siculus to Vitruvius, describe the need to lift water in a series of stages, raising it from one level to the next, sometimes over several meters. The solution had to be steady, repeatable, and strong enough to handle both clear water and muddy runoff. The screw answered these needs not with showy complexity, but with a design that could be built from wood and bronze, powered by a hand crank or tread wheel. Its value was always practical. It made fields productive, kept mines dry, and transformed swamps into farmland. This was infrastructure, not ceremony. It was a machine built to solve the relentless problem of moving water upward, one turn at a time. A helical blade, shaped like a giant screw, wraps around a central shaft. This assembly sits snugly inside a tube that is tilted upward, often at an angle between 30 and 45 degrees. The lower end dips into water, whether that is a river, a flooded mine, or an irrigation canal. As the screw turns, either by hand crank, tread wheel, or a modern motor, the spiral forms a series of pockets between the blade and the wall of the tube. Each pocket traps a small amount of water at the bottom opening. When the shaft rotates, these pockets begin their slow climb up the incline. The water does not pour through the screw or get pushed by high pressure. Instead, it rides along, carried step by the geometry of the spiral. The tube keeps the water from spilling out sideways, so each trapped segment stays in place until it reaches the top. With every full turn, new pockets fill at the bottom while others empty at the outlet above. The movement is continuous and smooth, not jerky or forceful. There are no pistons, no valves, and nothing to jam up from silt or debris. The real trick lies in the shape and the tilt. The angle is steep enough to lift water, but shallow enough that gravity alone will not just pull it back down. The spiral's pitch, the distance between each turn, matches the tube so that water stays caught in each chamber as it rises. As long as the screw keeps turning, water keeps moving up, defying what seems like a basic rule of nature. This approach does not depend on building up pressure or sealing the water in. It relies on the simple act of trapping and carrying. That is why the design is so tolerant of muddy water, leaves, or gravel. Anything that fits in a pocket goes along for the ride. Over centuries, this same principle has powered everything from wooden farm pumps to the giant steel screws in modern wastewater plants. The core idea remains unchanged: rotation, geometry, and a clever use of trapped pockets, not pressure, make water climb. Most water pumps in use today work by building up pressure. They rely on fast-spinning impellers, tightly fitted seals, and high-speed motors to force water through pipes. When something goes wrong, such as a clogged filter, a worn seal, or a bit of gravel in the impeller, the whole system can grind to a halt. Repairs often mean shutting everything down, swapping out parts, or even calling in specialists. The screw is a different kind of pump entirely. It lifts water not by pressure, but by trapping it in pockets and carrying it upward as the helix turns. There is no need for a perfect seal. The rotation can be slow, and the fit between the blade and the tube is forgiving. Mud, leaves, or even small stones usually pass through without stopping the flow. Where a modern centrifugal pump might jam or burn out, the screw keeps turning. This tolerance for debris is not just a side effect, it is a core advantage. In real-world settings, water is rarely clean. Irrigation canals fill with silt. Mine drainage brings up gravel and sludge. Even today, wastewater plants depend on screw pumps because they can handle grit and rags that would wreck a standard pump. Maintenance is another area where the screw stands apart. Its simple construction, a shaft, a spiral, and a tube, means that most repairs can be done with basic hand tools. In the past, a broken wooden bearing or a worn flight could be replaced on site. There is no need for precision machining or factory-made parts. This is why screw pumps have kept working for decades, or even centuries, in places like Dutch polders and rural drainage ditches. The trade-off is speed. The screw moves water more slowly than high-pressure pumps, but it does so with steady reliability. For the jobs it was designed for, lifting large volumes of water a short distance, often in dirty or unpredictable conditions, nothing else matches its blend of simplicity, durability, and ease of repair. That is why engineers still choose it for certain tasks, even with all the advances in modern pump technology. The machine's name comes from Archimedes of Syracuse, the Greek mathematician and engineer who lived in the 3rd century BCE. Ancient writers like Diodorus Siculus and Vitruvius linked his name to the screw, often describing how he spent time in Egypt and studied local engineering. Their accounts credit Archimedes with designing or popularizing the device, but they also mention its use along the Nile and in flooded mines, places where water had to be moved against gravity. Yet the story does not begin or end with Archimedes. Archaeological evidence from Assyria, including stone reliefs from the palace of Sennacherib at Nineveh, shows large helical devices raising water centuries before Archimedes was born. Some scholars argue that Egyptian or Mesopotamian engineers may have built similar machines even earlier, though the details are lost to time. What survives is the name, Archimedes' screw. The real origins are more complex, woven through ancient Egypt, Assyria, and the broader Near East, long before any single inventor claimed credit. Turning a hand crank, a single worker could lift hundreds of liters of water each hour, one pocket at a time. In larger installations, teams walked inside tread wheels, their weight driving the screw's rotation for hours without pause. Over centuries, the same principle adapted to new sources of power. Roman engineers connected screws to water wheels or animal-driven capstans. Later, as engines replaced muscle, the screw's job stayed the same: lift water gently, even when the flow carried mud, straw, or stones. In ship bilges, the screw cleared water from deep holds. In mines, it drained tunnels that would otherwise flood. The device proved itself wherever the challenge was moving large volumes of water a short distance, especially when debris or grit made other pumps fail. Today, the same geometry runs quietly beneath city streets and farmland. Modern wastewater plants rely on steel screws several meters wide to lift sewage and stormwater without clogging. Drainage systems in low-lying regions, from the Netherlands to the Mississippi Delta, use electrically driven screws to keep land dry. In irrigation, the screw still moves water from canals to fields, just as it did in ancient Egypt. And, in a reversal of its original purpose, engineers now run water down the screw to generate electricity. Archimedes' screw turbines, first patented in the 1990s, harness falling water to spin the helix and produce clean power. The core idea remains unchanged: rotation, trapped pockets, and a tilted cylinder. Whether powered by hand, animal, engine, or flowing river, the screw's enduring role is proof that a simple physical principle can outlast empires and still solve problems for modern engineers. A tilted cylinder, a rotating helix, and water moves upward. No pressure, no valves, just simple geometry. Today, engineers still choose this design for wastewater plants and turbines because reliability outlasts innovation. Some mechanisms don't just survive history, they keep solving the same problem every single day.